We love the idea of an overnight success. When we look at someone who has achieved something massive, our brains tend to filter out all the quiet years that came first. We assume they just caught lightning in a bottle, and we start looking for our own flash of inspiration. So when we finally decide it's time to change our own lives, we try to do it all at once. We tell ourselves we're going to wake up at 5 a.m., hit the gym for 2 hours, eat nothing but kale, and read a book a day, starting immediately. By day 3, that momentum typically evaporates. The sheer energy required to maintain that massive shift is impossible to sustain, so we crash and snap right back into our old routines. And because we failed, we tell ourselves a very specific lie. We assume we just didn't have enough willpower. We rarely consider that the strategy itself was broken from the start. We dismiss the idea of making tiny, almost imperceptible adjustments because they don't give us that immediate rush of transformation. This focus on the big win keeps us trapped in a cycle of starting over, while more sustainable growth happens at a much smaller scale. Think of self-improvement the way an investor thinks about money. You are looking for compound interest. If you can make a habit small enough, an atomic habit, it acts as an investment that accrues value silently in the background. This chart tracks a hypothetical timeline of a single year. Let's look at the exact mathematical return of improving your performance by just 1% every single day for those 365 days. A daily 1% gain compounds mathematically over time. By the end of a full year, those microscopic improvements result in you being 37 times more effective than when you began. But that exact same math applies in reverse. If you let your daily routine slip and get 1% worse each day, those tiny declines compound downward. By the end of the year, your performance shrinks until it hits almost zero. Now, if you check your progress on day 5 or day 10, you won't see this divergence. The person getting 1% better and the person getting 1% worse look identical early on. A single decision to eat a donut or read a chapter of a book doesn't move the needle today. It's only when you string hundreds of those microscopic choices together over months that the results become visible. If the mathematics of compounding are absolute, we have to ask why so many people abandon their new routines before the math works its magic. This graph shows a straight, steady diagonal line representing how quickly we expect results to happen. But the reality is that curved exponential line from earlier. Notice how flat it stays at the very beginning. That gap between what you expect to see and what is actually happening is called the valley of disappointment. When you run on a treadmill for 2 weeks and the scale doesn't move, your brain looks at this total lack of feedback and concludes that all the effort is being wasted. The only reliable way to cross this valley is to stop looking at the horizon. You have to detach from the end goal and focus entirely on executing the daily process. To keep that process going, you must reduce the friction of starting. You make the habit so small, like doing 2 push-ups or reading a single page, that your brain can't find an excuse to skip it. True progress requires sitting through the boring, silent weeks of early effort. You have to let the system run long enough for the compound interest to finally kick in. The reality of long-term success isn't glamorous. It is the result of repetitive, mundane actions, executed consistently, slowly carving out a new reality. This requires a total shift in how you evaluate yourself. Instead of obsessing over whether you are successful right now, you need to ask if your current habits are pointing you in the right direction. Your bank account balance today is a lagging indicator of your financial habits. Your weight is a lagging indicator of your eating habits. The position you hold today matters far less than the system you are running. Look at your own routine and find the one area where you constantly stall out. Take that action and strip away all the friction until it takes less than 5 minutes to complete. Once you lock that small, frictionless action into your daily schedule, the math starts working for you. Time goes from being a source of anxiety to the exact mechanism that builds your advantage. By focusing on the 1%, you move away from the frustration of missed goals and begin operating as the architect of your own results.